All right, let's get into our first discussion of the day. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has resumed its nationwide strike, and students in Nigerian universities may have to spend longer times on their programs than they signed up for.
Yes, indeed. And the body announced its decision yesterday night and directed all its members to immediately withdraw their services. Well, joining us on phone is the national president of ASUU, Professor Abiodun Oguyemi. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the show. Here we are again, ASUU going on strike. We hear it has to do with the memorandum of action that you agreed with the government. You want to tell us, give us a bit about the details of that memorandum of action and why you have decided today to go on strike.
Thank you very much. In September 2017, after a period of 6 weeks of action on the part of our members, government came to the negotiating table with us, and government asked for our understanding in certain areas. We then asked them for fund for the fertilization of public universities in Nigeria. And that fund was to be based on the agreed position that government will inject fund, massive fund into the university system to the tune of 1.3 trillion over a period of 6 years. Government was to start injecting the funds with 200 billion in 2013. And subsequently, for the following 5 years, government was to release 250 billion annually. Government only, over a period of 3 years, released 200 billion. And after that, government did not do anything. So when we took them on, government agreed that, well, we shall release a token of 20 billion, and we will set up a 7-person committee that will look into how to mobilize funds to address the balance. We did that last year, and the report was submitted in December. As we speak, we have not had anything about the report. It took government 1 year to release 20 billion, which was to serve as a sign of commitment. So our member felt that government was just taking them for a ride. Then we talked about the renegotiation. We had been asking for renegotiation way back to 2016, when we went on a warning strike, November that year. Government discussed with us on the floor of Senate when the Senate President came into the matter. Our government agreed to start the negotiation with us. The negotiation eventually started in March 2017. But by June this year, we found that government team was just playing game, because 4 key areas that we were negotiating on: funding, condition of service, academic freedom and university autonomy, and other related areas such as unfavorable university laws. We started with the funding, and for a period of 16 months, the leader of the government team was just dribbling us. Eventually, when they came up with their proposal, they said they would introduce the National Education Bank so that our students can be taking loans from the bank to pay tuition fees. And we said, no, we won't take that, because tuition fees had been debated with us in the past, and we had agreed that tuition fees would deny the children of the poor access to education. So we were on that, and we also told them that Education Bank is not new to Nigeria. Education Bank was implemented in Nigeria between 1993 and 2001. It was a calamitous effort, because by the time the program was wound up, 7-8 years after, they recorded massive corruption, diversion of funds, and government failure to rise to its own obligation. And we felt that talking about Education Bank again is a distraction. Why not increase budgetary allocation? The government team said no, they won't take any of that. We should not dictate to government how to mobilize funds. But eventually, because of our protest, we found that recently government was saying they will fund education to the tune of 15%. Recall that In the last 2 years, it has been 7%. Before then, 8%. And the thing kept coming down. So we don't believe that is the way to go, because the education bank is just another way of wasting our children's time.
All right.
Again, we talked about the entitlement of our members and academic allowances. Government promised us last year that they were already conducting a forensic audit and that the report will be released within 6 weeks. More than 12 months after, government has not released the report, and that means that the entitlement of our members will not be paid. Okay. We asked for the areas of shortfall in salaries. Those areas were there. Government said they will pay as soon as they completed the audit that they were carrying out. Government has not paid.
All right, Professor. Yeah, Professor Gunyemi, let's look at some other issues around so we don't lose track of issues. Excuse me. The strike that is commencing almost coincidental with labor. A lot of Nigerians are seeing it as strategically deliberate, or was this planned before now, and maybe Nigerians lose track of the fact that this strike should have commenced today?
Well, it was not designed to coincide with the NLC strike. We have been on these issues for 2 years, and our members ask for action now. And there's never going to be a time that anybody will approve of a strike action. It is just a matter of when it is right. Because when we have explored all avenues to achieve our goals and government ignored us, our members felt that we should no longer be ignored.
So what would it take? What would it take for government to get you back to the classroom? Because a lot of parents and guardians are already concerned as to how this will affect academic activities.
We have sent a list of our demands to government. Government should go back to the negotiating table with us, because we have our own ideas, and our agreement of 2009 was actually due for renewal 2012. So between 2012 and now, 6 years, when we started, government team aborted it. So we need to go back to the negotiating table. The outstanding entitlements of our members, including those in state universities, will have to be paid and addressed immediately. So we are not interested in strike, but government has forced us to go on strike.
All right. Should Nigerians see this as a warning strike or an indefinite strike?
Our strike is indefinite. It is comprehensive and it is total. Government, we have done warning strike before. We are actually resuming the strike we suspended September 14, 2017. So it's not a new strike action. When we were suspending that strike action, we told Nigerians that Nigeria should prevail on government to fulfill its own part of the bargain. But government has failed. And that is why our members said we should withdraw our services.
Now, in reaching the decision to go on strike, I'm just wondering, yes, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, I doubt if you would have a job if there were no students to teach. Do you carry along NANS not NANS, the student body?
It's NANS.
Yeah, it's actually NANS, come to think of it. Yes, do you carry them along in this process to the point that you agree to go on strike? Does it go down well with the students themselves?
Well, the students themselves know that we have been talking about the issues, including the issues of school fees. You can take the example in Lado Capitola University and many other universities. The students know that we are protecting their interests, actually. And what is the quality of education they are receiving? If their lecturers are asking for improvement in the quality of education they are receiving, we believe our students and their parents should actually be on the side of ASUU and should join us in prevailing on government to do what is expected of government.
All right. A lot of analysts are still saying that there are so many economic challenges on the part of government right now when it comes to their ability and capacity to bring out the amount of monies government is talking about. What what kind of consideration will ASUU give to government from that window?
The consideration we are talking about can only come up when there is negotiation. Not that government will take a position and its team will come and be wasting ASUU's time.
And this seems to have come without prior notice for the government.
We gave the notice as far back as last year.
Okay.
When we were suspending the action September 14, 2017, we said ASUU would not hesitate to go back on this, to withdraw its services if government failed to fulfill its own part of the agreement.
You do have quite a long list of demands on the federal government, but which would be the most immediate things you'd want government to meet for you to go back to school, to the classroom?
We will not determine what they will meet, but we are saying that government cannot ignore a union that is working for the protection of the interest and quality of education of Nigeria.
Yes, we do get that point, but what my point is, in the immediate, so that we don't have a crisis in the education sector, what are those immediate things you would have government do to assuage you?
Well, number one, the constitution of the negotiating team. We want Dr. Wale Babalaki removed as the chairman of that committee. Mm-hmm. We want the release of the audit report on academic and non-academic allowances. We want the payment of outstanding entitlements of our members, including those at the University of Ilorin who have been victimized. We want government to provide a platform for state governors to address ASUU's issues, because we have been raising issues about the way government proliferates universities and they meddle into the affairs of state universities. So if government can walk along this line, I think we should have normalcy, relative normalcy back on our campus.
All right. The ASUU is a body different from NLC, but let me make us understand. Without the ASUU strike that you have called independently on yourself, would you have taken part in the NLC strike commencing tomorrow?
Yes, we are part of our NLC. The last morning strike, we took part. But if we have met and our members voted for action immediately, the leadership cannot stop them.
So that almost seems like a double whammy there, because if, for example, the federal government agrees to NLC's demands and does not agree to your demands,
ASUU will still remain on strike, even if NLC calls back.
Well, we have a common demand that is based on the welfare of workers, and that is why we collaborate with NLC to demand the payment of the minimum wage as agreed, the 30,000 naira that was agreed. But when you address that, you have to come back to the peculiar demands of ASUU, and that is why you are correct to say the strike actions are being two phases. NLC strike 5, we are part of it, but ASUU strike has separate demands that the government needs to respond to.
All right. In this demands now, the issue of funding of universities is there, but others are saying that it's more about the welfare of staff, of maybe members of ASUU and staff of the universities.
There is never a time we talk about staff welfare alone, because we know they are interwoven. If you pay us the highest pay in the world and we don't have a conducive environment to work, we don't have the enabling environment to deliver on our mandate, it will affect our conscience, because we are people that have conscience. We know that we have responsibilities to Nigerians, and we need to provide the conducive and workable environment for us to deliver on our mandate of research, teaching, and service to the community. In fact, what we are doing now is a community service, because we are telling Nigerians that the quality of university education is going deeper and deeper down, and if care is not taken, public university education will go the way the public primary and secondary education in this country has gone. And we think Nigerians should work with us to resist this, because at the elite, particularly the ruling class, they are establishing their own universities, and that is why they continually ignore demand for the improvement of public universities, where the children of the poor are trained.
And the question on the lips of so many people is, I mean, with these persistent strikes, how convinced are you that this time around, this strike will make any difference? I mean, apart from going on strike, are there any options before you that you would explore if the strike does not work?
Well, the options will be determined by our members. But people that talk about options, we ask them for the options. After writing several letters, after holding fruitless meetings, ASUU does not know what we should do. If government likes, then the government will want to close public universities and tell Nigerians they're not ready to fund public universities again. And our members will have to look for other jobs.
All right. So some analysts have talked about the issue of, they say it is time for universities to start sourcing their own funds instead of waiting for the government to fund everything. What is ASUU doing in that regard, and what is ASUU's stance when it comes to universities sourcing their own funds?
Well, sourcing their own funds, you have to provide the enabling environment. If you want your child to be independent, you have to empower your child. We are saying that government has not empowered Nigerian public universities. And talking of self-sustenance does not arise in this matter. They don't have the facilities to be productive enough to do cutting-edge research that will earn them the income we are talking about. They do not have the quality manpower that we need. What we need to hire the best in the world, we don't have. So until we have the structures in place, we cannot talk of Nigerian universities fending for themselves. It is not realistic, and it is not going to work.
All right. ASUU President Professor Abiodun Guyemi, thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. We hope this impasse is resolved sooner than later.